Will Russian arms sales survive the Azeri-Armenian conflict? Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin is trying to implement a ceasefire in the heavily armed conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh enclave, south of Russia. But even if he's successful, Russian arms trade with the two countries will drastically change, analysts say. Nagorno-Karabakh was once controlled by the Soviet Union and given over to Azeri jurisdiction. But in 1988, ethnic Armenians in the region called for the transfer of the territory to Armenian jurisdiction. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Armenia and Azerbaijan went to war over the area. Despite a delicate ceasefire agreement, mid-2020 saw a breakdown of diplomatic efforts, leading to more clashes. And on October 15, officials in Nagorno-Karabakh accused Azerbaijan of expanding hostilities beyond the enclave. The breakaway Karabakh Foreign Affairs Ministry said Azeri forces had hit Armenian territory. The Azeri Defense Ministry confirmed that its military hit Armenian territory close to the border with the intent of deterring an Armenian ballistic missile attack. Each side has blamed the other for the escalation, which has killed hundreds of people. Dozens of tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery systems mostly made in Russia have been destroyed during the current fighting, according to media reports citing Azeri and Armenian defense officials. But exact figures are hard to verify due to the huge amount of outright fakes, inaccurate and distorted information, defense journalist Pavel Ivanov wrote in the Nezavismaya Gazeta Daily. Independent military analyst Alexander Goltz told Defense News that if reported figures are accurate, then both sides must be nearly out of operational tanks. The conflict has tested the Kremlin's position in the region. So far, its negotiations efforts, mediated by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, have failed. Moscow's position in the region is under threat since, even after the meeting between Azeri and Armenian foreign ministers, the fighting is still ongoing, Mikhail Kaderyanok, a senior military analyst for Gazeta.ru and a retired colonel, told Defense News. The meeting between Azeri Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov and his Armenian counterpart, Zarab Natsakanyan, in Moscow October 10 led to ceasefire agreement, but that quickly collapsed. Each side accused the other of breaking the deal. Now, Moscow might up the pressure on both sides to end the conflict, Kaderyanok said. Since they are not listening, Moscow will try to make efforts if not to coerce to peace, then force to truce. The figure of speech coerce to peace was used in August 2008 by then Russian President Dmitry Medvedev to push Georgian forces out of southern Ossetia. The situation led to a small-scale war between the two nations, which ended with a ceasefire agreement negotiated by French President Nicolas Sarkozy that same month. We don't know what kind of measures are to be taken, but the question here is to gain trust for the Kremlin as the top regional player. I think Moscow will not abstain from applying hard measures to put pressure on both sides to stop fire, Kaderyanok said. He didn't provide concrete examples of possible Russian action, but some pro-Kremlin hardliners have said the government should put more pressure on Azerbaijan. Americans have entered Syria under the pretext to fight international terrorists. We are ready to help friendly Azeri people to fight international terrorists, influential pro-Kremlin television pundit Vladimir Solovyov said on his prime-time show on Russian television October 13. The Wall Street Journal reported the next day that hundreds of Syrian mercenaries allied with Turkey arrived in Nagorno-Karabakh to fight on the Azeri side. But Azeri President Ilham Aliyev has denied that was the case. Independent military analyst Alexander Goltz said Russia could theoretically strike rebels beyond its border. Citing a recent article in the state-run news agency Krasnaya Zvezda penned by Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu in which he references Putin's December 2015 call to action in Syria to defend Russia from terrorist threats at distant frontiers. But according to Goltz, such an operation could cause conflict between Russia and Turkey, which is allied with Azerbaijan. Putin expressed his concern to Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on October 14 about the possible presence of militants from the Middle East in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, according to Russian media reports citing the government. Ruslan Pukhov, the director of the Center for Analysis of Strategies and Technologies, a think tank in Russia, told Defense News that Turkey's active position in the conflict has been a game changer. Before, Russia had a leading voice in the question of war and peace in the southern Caucasus region. The country didn't hesitate to use its military force, like in the case with Georgia. But today we don't have the decisive vote. Turkey's influence over Aliyev is stronger than Moscow's influence over him. It's clear that a key to peace is in Ankara, not in Moscow. The situation is difficult for Moscow because it has a relationship with both Azeri President Aliyev and Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan. While Armenia and Russia are military allies, with the former hosting a Russian military base, Pashinyan has adopted a multi-vector policy, which allows his country to associate with a variety of nations even if those nations are not geopolitically aligned.